Thank you, everyone. Okay, first on, approval of the agenda.
So move.
Okay,
Second.
okay, discussion. Tim?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, yes. Okay, first, we need, did we have a chance to review the May 13th regular meeting minutes?
Yes. I would move that they be approved. Second.
Discussion on that? Tim?
Yes.
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 Yes, yes. And then, did we have a chance to review the special meeting minutes of June 3rd?
Yep. Move to approve. Second.
Discussion? Tim?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes. And May financials, everybody have a chance to review those?
Move to approve. Second.
Discussion? Tim?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Okay, planning and zoning recommendation for Wes and Cammy Johnson. Had a public hearing. They're doing a 10-by-10 landing out in the front. Out the front door with railing, and there is a variance. Well, I think it was a 10-foot variance, and planning is going to recommended approval.
Right. Yeah, there was nobody that spoke against it at the public hearing. So, like, there's one person that spoke in favor of it.
Yeah. So we would need city commission to approve it.
I would move that we would approve that variance. Second.
Okay. Tim?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Purchases city lots, Roger Nelson. Come on up. Get the hot seat.
Hi, Roger. Hi. Hey, Roger.
So it looks like you're looking at buying those lots up, kind of by the new water tower up there.
What you haven't finished up there is what I'm
Okay.
asking about. And I don't necessarily want to divide them like what is written there, that I wrote in there.
Okay.
I probably will put properties on three parties here that we're all interested in moving to, back into North Dakota.
Okay.
One from Bismarck, one out of state, but we're all Bismarck or North Dakota residents.
Okay.
And I'm just moving back from Minnesota.
So what you'll be doing is you kind of like maybe some joining some lots, splitting some lots.
Well, you have three in a section that's on Sibley Way. You got two across
Yeah.
from Sibley Way. Then you have three more that are on the Moores, on the corner,
Yes.
down there, basically. And it looks like that street is a dead end. That's where it's supposed to come around and go to a street end at some point in time. And I guess I'm just here to find out if, it's too good to be true, I can find any lots for sale at that range, but I know there's a lot more involved in those costs, and I know there's gonna be costs for the city as well, if we're going to complete that block, if you will.
So I see you have questions here. This first one, will Washburn complete the block of Sibley Way and Sully Drive? Now, when you say complete, what do you mean by that? Do you mean water, sewer, and streets, or what's your question?
I'm talking about the street itself. I've already talked to the auditor, deputy auditor about where the water main is, where the sewer main is, basically where they claim that it's where the asphalt ends up there.
Very close, yes.
And then it would be my cost to put those in to the existing lots,
Yeah, you'd have to extend the mains.
right?
Yep, correct.
Okay. And I've contacted all of the utility companies. I'm familiar with everybody that's a player in this thing, so that's not an issue with any of that. It's just a matter of how does the city look at continuing that block, going around the thing and coming back into, Sibley Way to Sully, back into the Moores. Is that your intention to finish the block?
Well, generally the way that happens is when you have say, or the development that's there now, somebody bought all the lots and then they actually developed it. and then, you know, the specials get paid by the people that live there.
Sure.
So, you know, as far as, you would probably have to get a contractor to do that, and then as you sell the lots, then the specials would be paid that way. You know, the city, I don't believe, would be putting those in special, and, you know,
As far as
take on the
city
specials.
ordinance, yeah.
Yeah,
So you're saying that to finish the streets themselves would have to be contracted? And then that expense to the lots is what you're saying?
it would, the expense would go to you, and then you would recoup that when you sell the lots.
Yeah, well, I'm not looking necessarily to sell them, and I'm not looking to do this as a developer, if you will.
Okay.
I'm just a plain Jane North Dakota resident.
Yeah.
And the other people, one is a contractor from Bismarck that is now retired from the concrete business. And the other one is a lifetime resident of Bismarck, and,
Okay.
his family's all Wilton and even up here,
And maybe our engineer can explain that better, Eric?
Yeah, sure. So, there's a number of ways that the city could go about doing something like this. Since the city does own the lot, the city could hire a contractor to put in the utilities and to pave the street, and then the city would assign the specials to those lots that receive those improvements. So that's one way you could do it. Another way that the city could do it is they could sell that property to a developer or to a contractor that does the development, and they would go ahead and put those improvements in. And kind of what you were saying there, Larry, then that developer would recoup the cost to purchasing that property and putting the utilities in when he sells the lots. Or if he would build a home too on them and sell the home with the lots, whatever that developer would decide to do.
Okay, so you're saying curb, gutters,
I mean,
asphalt, paving, all of it?
my recommendation to the city would be to get curb and gutter and asphalt all completed after the utilities are put in.
After?
Well, you put the utilities in first,
Sure.
the water mains and sewer mains,
Mhm.
and your water services and sewer service lines to the lots that are intended to be built on,
Mhm.
and then you would do the streets after that.
Okay.
But as far as how the city wants to handle that, that's, if the city owns the property, they would decide.
Right. And I guess that's something.
And that was my question.
Yeah.
Whose cost is it gonna be? I'm sure it's going to be imposed upon all of these lots, in equal measure.
That's where it would go to, yes, correct. Yeah.
So that's just, I call it turning over rocks, so that's what I'm doing. I'm turning
No,
over
absolutely,
rocks.
sure.
Trying to
Yeah,
figure out
absolutely.
what the costs are.
Mhm.
Don't wanna go into this blind and find out that, now they're at $80,000 a lot by the time it's all said and done.
Correct.
You know
Oh,
what I'm saying?
exactly. No,
Yeah.
exactly. Definitely understand that.
Yeah. And I don't need an answer today. I just want you to be aware that, I want you to feel comfortable that if I do buy those lots, that it's not going to be something that I want to turn into some eyesore. I've lived in some very nice parts of Bismarck. I've lived in very nice parts of any place that I've ever been. And it's a crying shame when things just go to hell, with people not taking care of
Yes. I know.
the other neighbor, and all that stuff. So I'm just looking at kind of finishing it because this is, the opportunity is there right now.
Sure.
I've never asked that of any municipality if they've ever had lots for sale. And the young lady that answered my thing with Erica, she said, absolutely, we have some lots for sale. Like, boggled my mind. Like, I never asked that question of Bismarck or Baldwin or any other place that I've been.
You would buy all 8 lots then?
Yes, and pay off all the specials as well.
Yeah, I don't know what the specials are on them right now.
They're 1,000.
He has the amounts.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I have them. They vary. Some of them are supposed to expire, I think, this year. A few of them, and the rest of them are 1,000, 1,500,
Oh, okay.
1,600. They're not that expensive, but that's specials from your other projects in the
Right.
city, not just from
Right.
development.
Yeah. But eventually what happens is the cost goes to those lots.
Right.
For the development.
Yeah,
And we
and that's all we need to come to consensus
Yeah.
with. that's
And-
all.
And we could, you could get an estimate from a contractor or an engineer, I should say an engineer, and see what that would possibly be.
I was gonna say, is that something Eric could generate an estimated?
Yep, we looked at finishing that development up there with the water main. The water main would be, looped on Sibley Way down Sully to the Morris, what we looked at before. And the sewer main we looked at extending to, Sully Avenue, extending into the end of the block essentially.
Right.
So there would be two sections of the sewer main that have to be extended. And we did look at doing that before, at one point in time.
Mhm.
So it wouldn't take much for me to look at that and see what that cost might be to finish those utilities in the street.
Mhm.
But I could provide that to the city.
Sure.
So I could do-
And I think that would be a nice gesture on our part to try and get that, and then, because I would love to see those lots sell and the houses up there, absolutely.
That way you know what you're up against.
Yeah, and the reason I'd like to leave the lots kind of intact where they're at is 3 in one part of it, 2 across the street, 3 on the backside of that, on those streets, is the fact that if a person wants to put an accessory building on there,
Right.
they can have some room to do it.
Yes.
And it's a crying shame that when a lot of these things get developed, there's just not enough room. And let's face it, we all have toys.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm looking at some particular things that Morton Building designed, as far as like a shop home type thing. But we would have to discuss that if I ever get to that point.
That would go before planning and zoning then. right?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So, and I have the zoning and planning.
Okay.
All of that. I have those rules.
Okay.
I read them inside out. I told Eric, I know probably better than you know.
That could be.
Yep.
So anyway, that's,
Any other questions you have for us at this point, or,
Yes, I guess not.
I see there's something about that big dirt pile, I mean, that,
The spoil pile can stay. It doesn't bother me one little bit, because one of those lots is low anyway.
there's really not that much left there anyway, so.
Not a lot, and I know the neighbors are all there digging on it. I couldn't care less.
Yeah.
They couldn't do that. And I do see that one of the neighbors there, he has 5 lots on
Yeah,
one of the streets. He's on the second lot, and he's
Mhm.
kept the other 3 too.
right,
And I think the people that are against the top 3 lots, they have one of the lots as well for a
Yes.
playground.
yes, yeah.
And I see it the same way as the other way, and then driving in there in Heritage, I see that some of the neighbors, I don't know if they've gone together or if it's one particular landowner that owns those, but there's like 5 trailers in there or more.
Yeah,
You see?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying, these
Yeah.
things need to stay intact instead of you guys saying,
Yes.
we want revenue and I want each one of these to be
Right.
built.
No, however you want to do it, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of the, on the GIS, some of these lots are pretty narrow across the front.
Yeah, they're 85 feet.
Yeah, 77 here.
Yeah,
Up this here.
77. Well, I've done all the calculations
Yeah.
on them, see what the numbers are on those things.
Yeah,
So
so I can see where.
if I took the 3 lots and we split the middle lot and gave it to the other ones, it's 0.35 acres.
Yep.
So at 0.35 acres, yeah, you could probably put a 30 by 40 building on it. And your house.
Right.
And then stay within your 20 feet and your 8-foot rules and all your other stuff. You could
Yeah.
probably do that.
Mhm.
But if you have all 3 of those together,
Yeah.
then that makes a little bit of difference.
Yeah.
Then you have more of
Makes more sense.
more room to do
Yeah.
what you want. I propose a patio home type thing, not full-blown basements in houses.
Yep.
I want to make it simple. I want to make it efficient. I want to use, boiler in floor type heating.
Oh, nice.
That's what I want to do.
Okay,
Yeah, very good.
any questions?
No, it'll be nice to get that developed up there.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, looks like you guys are all green, so.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, we can, if you could get something maybe on that, Eric, and then give it to Chelsea, and then she can get it to you.
And I'm not in a big hurry. We have an apartment in Bismarck, and we've just sold our property and, south of the cities and all that stuff, so all my stuff's in storage, and it's like, does anybody have any storage up there? For rent?
Tough.
I have got lots of toys, lots of tools. So,
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you for coming.
okay,
Appreciate it.
thank you.
Yep.
Seeds of Eden, Ryan.
Gentlemen, Hey, Ryan, Chelsea.
Hey, Ryan.
You received our policies and procedures we sent over? Everybody has them there?
Yeah.
Great. Just want to make sure those in everybody's hands, open to the public. Other than that, I'm director, one of the directors of Seeds of Eden, an unpaid director. I do this because I came out of recovery myself and I'm just passionate about it. Jason Falstrom is one of our lead house managers in our sober living here. He's been here since November, doing a great job. He's a business owner in town already, running his own business. And then Isaiah Keller is our lead director. So I'll let him just make a statement. We're just here to make a statement about the events that happened last week, and so we can address that to everybody. All right?
Thanks for having us, guys.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming.
I just, so a couple things. I want to bring transparency to our policy. For those that have been charged or convicted of sex crimes, and then bringing some clarity to concerns with kind of a recent incident. So I'm kind of hesitant at the end to take a bunch of questions because of just the heightened emotion associated with all of this, and then just with prior public meetings, name calling and accusations, we just don't really deal too well with that. So, but I'm open if there's some questions here, maybe amongst the council, I'm open to answering some. So Seeds of Eden operates 3 men's recovery homes across the state. Out of those 3, one of them does accept sex offenders, and that one's in Minot. So we work with federal and state probation, usually with placements with those individuals. And since we've been operating there, there's been no incidents, no additional criminal charges that have occurred while they've been at the house. So we're very open with the neighbors, and we've had good conversations and good discussions. So it's not for anyone that's been charged with sex offenses, but on a case-by-case basis, if it's a good fit. So we didn't view Washburn as an appropriate community to accommodate for sex offenders for multiple reasons. So I think with that, I think the city and us are on the same page there. We've got a policy against that for those that have been charged and or convicted. So we screen applicants. We do background checks to the best of our ability. Now, sometimes it's difficult because a lot of the federal charges, they're hard to find sometimes. They're kind of buried. But for the most part, we can get a good read on it, especially when, we're communicating with attorneys, law enforcement. A lot of times they've got a good tap on what's going on with individuals. So our policy is strictly against that here in Washburn. The man identified in that article that was written, he admitted into our facility on May 16th. So he was working in Bismarck, doing everything just fine, participating in house programming. So we were not concerned with him. He had a criminal history, but nothing regarding anything that has been recently brought up. So on May 29th, new charges were filed against him for possession of certain materials prohibited. That's basically child porn, is what we believe. So we didn't have any foreknowledge of this, no idea, nobody did. As soon as we found out about it, we began to address it. We began to communicate with his attorney, with him. And so we made plans immediately to evict him and transition him out of the community. So we don't ever want to operate in the shadows or under a cloak. We are very open. We talk to the detective, we talk to police officers, attorneys. We want to make sure we're doing what we need to do to protect the community. And then also, whenever we make decisions like this, it's not something where you just make a rash decision. We wanted to really plan and think through it. So he was evicted on June 4th. He's no longer in Washburn. we always want to quicken our response time if we can. I mean, that's something that we're always working on improving. So, you know, he didn't tell us, I don't believe. So there's that. And then you find out about it. We immediately addressed it. The article came out within a day, and then it was really a big kind of uproar. So we apologize. You know, if there's been a scare or you know, concern for safety, we're as concerned about it as anybody else. Ryan's got 6 kids in town. So, you know, so our policy continues to stand. We just hope that this brings some clarity. And then if anybody has additional questions or concerns or comments, you can go to our website, seedsofeden.net, shoot us an email, give us a call. You know, we're willing to talk. We're transparent, we're open, we're accessible, we're approachable. And just moving forward, we just want to continue to reach for people who are serious about recovery and doing it in a safe manner. And so that's about all I have to say about it. I wanted to bring Jason here. So as Ryan had said, he's been here about 8 months. We really feel like he's been a blessing and a testament of really God's hand on his life, and then just the effectiveness of the program and what this can do and can bring. And he's not the only one that's doing really well. There's a handful of other guys that are really taking things seriously. So he's been around town. He's got a lawn care business, lawn mowing business. He's enjoying that, and then just being a model for the house and for men that are kind of coming up. And so one of the things that we have recently done is we've partnered with 2 treatment facilities, Summit and Prairie Recovery Center. And what they're able to do for a lot of our men, not everyone, but a lot of them will qualify for services, and they can bring outpatient treatment through telehealth. So it's basically through video, and they're able to continue on their treatment services after they finish from like inpatient. So that's just another support, another accountability layer, and that's been really a neat thing for guys to just bring that continuum of care. And so I'll let Jason just kind of share a little bit. Before I do, I just want to bring some clarity, apologize, you know, just for not being quick enough. I mean, it was probably about 5 or 6 days there. So we want to quicken that if we can, and we can do better. And then also I just wanted to bring some clarification too. So I don't know if there's been maybe some confusion on, you know, our ability to do business in town, but just want the public to know we didn't gain permission from the city. They didn't endorse us. And so we don't need permission, but we do want to be respectful of the laws of the land. And so with that, just being good stewards and making sure people are safe and protected. And then lastly, we just want to work together the best that we can and complement one another rather than compete. So we're not asking for the community to get behind what we're doing. We understand not everyone's for that. That's okay. But if people are willing to help, we're happy to help. You know, we're happy for the help and the support. And there have been some. There's been some that have, you know, expressed appreciation and gratitude. So we're thankful for that. So yeah, Jason, why don't you just maybe say a few words here before we close? So
He actually came up to Seeds of Eden, you know, 8-9 months ago. I was the first resident here, and the place has come a long way. You probably see periodic big piles of trash coming and then leaving, and like as we remodel and everything like that on the inside. But it's slowly growing in numbers. So it's up to, it's been as high as like 16 or 17 people in there. I think there's about 12 people there right now. But it's not like, there's not a party going on inside or anything like that. There's several Bible studies a week in there. And just like a focus on, everybody's focusing on themselves for the most part. And then we try to go on like, we go on take guys fishing. Some guys like to play basketball and stuff. And just whatever activities we can come up with. Even some people go down and work in Bismarck, some people work in town here. Really been working with like Subway and Dakota Farms. There's a lot of you probably know, you've seen us in those places working. And I've gotten to know a lot of the people around town at Dakota Farms serving up there. And I mean, I really like the town. That's where I got the idea to start a lawn business. They said that there was people doing it kind of more, and it seems like they were gone. So I decided to I would plan on staying for a while. So I just started that business up, and I thought it would fit well with having a lot of guys that are coming in from the street or from usage or from treatment, and they may have they just have problems adjusting to normal living, is whatever that it means, I guess, but just normal living. So they have a better routine and stuff as they adjust from going from like the usage lifestyle or mental abuse lifestyle, and then transition into like doing yard work or whatever it was. Like we were out ditching a trench in the rain today, and had a couple guys with doing that. Everything went good over up at, because they're selling Brandl's house up there because he died last year, and I was doing that for one of his daughter. But and I've been helping a number of people with their yards around here, and the guys really like doing that. But like they're saying, there must have been some type of a scare, and I get it, because I got a 20-year-old. She's in college down in NDSU to be a dentist. But when she was younger, I had a lot more fears of like different stuff happening to her and everything like that. So I mean, I've always got that in the back of my head too, and I am certified by the state too as a peer support, and that entails being a mandatory reporter. So if you know of something that's going on, like if I want to stay relevant, I need to call and report that, and I've done that a couple of times, not on anybody that's lived at the house, but for other events, one in the city, one in another city. So that's where my mind is on that.
Good. Thank you,
Yeah.
Jason. And obviously, child porn is pretty serious. People react pretty quickly, right?
Right.
I would have to say, I have a lot of compassion for that. I would have probably thought some deeper thoughts and some more angry thoughts if I wouldn't be where I'm at with God today. So I have compassion for whatever everybody's feeling, okay? And so we just want to be able to express that, and we're not, not mad or offended that people say what they're going to say. But you hopefully just understand that we're trying to do our best, and clean up the property, clean up the town, and want to be able to give back any way that we can.
You're kind of looking at forgiveness then for what happened then?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm not big on social media, and I think that's where maybe some of the chatter was had, and I'm kind of the type of guy, I've got so much going on, I don't have time to focus on that, but we want to be sensitive to the concerns, so we know that real people had real concerns, and so I guess we just appreciate the invite to just come here and share and bring clarity, and so yeah, we're not really asking for anything, just a little understanding maybe, that's all.
Any questions from you?
I have a question. During some of the talks and that sort of thing, you guys mentioned, if I remember correctly, that you would be giving preference away from those with violent history and those with sexual crimes. So I'm just curious, with this one, he did have some charges from North Dakota, fleeing from police, felon with a firearm, fighting. I'm just wondering, why that was chosen, if you're trying to filter away from that, and then also if you're trying to filter, why is there nothing about sexual crimes and violence on your application, just to filter and just question that?
Yep, no, that's good. So on one of our applications, and maybe that one needs to be updated, there is a question that asks if they're a sex offender. So if it's not on that one, it is for sure on our Devil's Lake application. So that's something that crossed my mind, that needs to be updated. With violent offenses, it's case by case. This gentleman was kind of vouched for by another guy who had been doing well in the house. And so that was kind of a referral, you could say, where with violence, it's a case by case. We don't want to totally disqualify, and yet people that are violent and they have a history of violence, that's something we definitely need to keep a close eye on. And I think you know, and so this individual, the unique thing about it is he was not on probation at all. He's got charges coming. So a lot of work we've been doing is with his attorney. So, so with the violence, it's case by case. And so that this individual is kind of a referral as far as like, he's ready, he's serious, because we don't really, people that aren't serious really aren't welcome. They're just, we don't want to deal with the headache of bringing them in and you get them set up and then you kick them out. So we want people to be successful, and so that's a priority. And so as far as the screening, yeah, that's something that's taken very seriously on the.
So how do you know if they're successful or not? How do you know when they're completed their rehabilitation? How do you know that?
So that's on a case by case basis too. Like, so some individuals that have come in, it's only taken them 2 months and they've already got their own place. They're already working. There's ongoing support that they'll need, but they were in a sense a stepping stone with us. So they needed 2 months. Now some guys, like we've got a few guys in the house, we encourage them, hey, you're gonna want to spend at least a year. Like this isn't something that, this is just a little pass through. Like you've got some serious issues to work on, and if you're serious about it, we really want you to commit to 6 months or more. So a good target is 6 months, but like I said, some people develop and rehabilitate really quickly, and we've seen that pretty recently with a few of our guys. K1 was one of them. He's really doing well, and he was there, you know, probably 3 months or so, and he's been able to move on. So we don't want to hold people against their will, because that ends up trouble, right? That ends up problematic. And so we want people that are willing and wanting, you know, to move forward.
Now, when you bring people into an area like this, do you have to report those to the sheriff's department then or anything, or is it just strictly within your jurisdiction, as you said?
It can be, so it depends. For some of them, they are restricted to a specific county. That isn't really common. So a lot of times it's based upon, if they have a probation officer, they'll dictate some. So on a state level, it could be Terry. On a federal level, it'd be another probation officer.
So you don't have to report anybody, say, who's a sex offender?
Well, we would never bring anyone in intentionally at all. But if they are a registered sex offender, yep, they have to register with the sheriff's office. So like in Minot, we do have a couple guys there that are registered SOs, and they got to register with the sheriff.
What about violent crime?
No.
Unless they're on probation.
Right.
But then they would have to change their PO to your.
Yeah. Most of our guys are
There's
not
no
on.
one that has there could be a dangerous crime against a child too, where they have to report their address and stuff, but there's nobody like that around. But if someone came through like that, we would take them up to the courthouse and have them register.
And I would say 80% of our guys aren't on probation. Most of them have went through treatment. Some of them have been rehabilitated somewhat in jail settings. There's a lot of treatment now in jail and in programming too. And so when we screen people like that, and I mean, we had helped somebody out here from the Washburn jail not too long ago, and it was a good fit, and it was temporary, but it was just the way we could help. But they need to be screened, I would say, even more cautiously.
So are most of these people either drug related or alcohol related?
So for the program, they have to be experiencing a substance abuse disorder. Now that can go back as far as really the lifetime of this individual. So it could be 10 years, 20 years. You know, there's maybe some young guys have only struggled maybe for a year, 6 months, but yeah, there has to be some sort of a substance abuse diagnosis.
Not depression or anything like that?
No, it doesn't have to be mental health. And some of them are dealing with both, but if it's too severe, that's part of the vetting process. We're only able to handle a certain level of care, and so if it's beyond what we can handle, they go to a different facility or a different area where they can get the help they need. If, you know, some of these cases with schizophrenia, it's really complicated stuff, and this is independent sober living, so that's not, you know, proper fit for a lot of people with mental health severe mental health. So,
Do you have anything else done? So, I didn't want to interrupt you. Anything else? No.
No,
Okay. You had mentioned, transparency, which I know coming to your public meetings, you had visited about that also.
sure, yeah.
So you mentioned here earlier, your transparency is through your website to ask questions if you've got them
Sure,
there.
yeah,
Because if I remember right, at the last meeting that went to, the question was asked to the public, should there be any more public meetings?
Right.
And the answer was yes,
right.
and they didn't occur.
We made a decision not to because of the name calling and some of that.
Okay.
So,
Well, I think there was concerns that were validly addressed at those meetings that were not answered, I think.
okay,
To people's.
sure, yeah,
Just weren't answered,
Sure.
in a way that they were
Okay.
comfortable with.
sure,
And I know, I've had more than one concern that's come to me, concerning, Seeds of Eden. And whether they are legitimate concerns or not, I do not know, but there
Sure.
are certainly concerns. And I think a lot of it is the fact, in my opinion, that there weren't more public meetings had. The next one might have been better than the other one. I think if you guys would have been more direct in your answers, you wouldn't have had the pushback that you had in those meetings.
sure,
And because I know the comment that was made to me, when I expressed concerns was simply, you can't do anything about it anyway. If we want to come, we're going to come.
well, the question was kind of loaded a little bit, so.
Either
you know,
way, I think that if you guys would go back to, true transparency is, okay, if you guys want to meet with us, let's meet, we'll sit down, we'll talk. If you want another public meeting, let's have another public meeting. And are you guys in communication with the sheriff's office? the
Absolutely.
district attorney, or that type of thing? So if I went up there, they would say, yeah, they're upfront, they're honest with this.
Yeah, I don't know the state's attorney, but we talk to the sheriff pretty regularly.
Okay.
That's why we scheduled this, because I actually met with the attorney, or the detective immediately, Aaron, and he gave me advice to be able to, to
He's
be able
good.
to have this.
Yep.
So,
And he's a solid guy.
they're actually sending us people from the jail. That's how much confidence they have in us.
Okay. So if I went up and I visited with JR, then I could get a,
Sure, absolutely.
And we, if, in my mind, I'm like, kind of wondering what the questions are, but calling, emailing, I mean, I'm open to public meetings, but I just don't deal well with, silver tongued and horse and pony show, like all that stuff is just, I don't deal well with it.
so your phone number would be available for people if they wanted
It
to call
is,
you
yeah.
directly?
So on the website, that phone number is probably going to go directly to Brian. So he's the executive director, but he can get you my number or Ryan's, and we'll meet with anyone if as long as it's done in a professional and cordial way. That's the thing. We're not trying to hide anything, but I don't want to get into argument or a yelling match. So.
No, that's understandable. Yeah. But I think that to answer questions directly is very important and not to talk in circles, because
Sure.
I'm just speaking from my
Right.
take on some of the questions I asked.
Yeah.
I was waiting for the circle to come back around, and I never did get the answer.
Well, and the answer regarding, basically it was kind of framed like, so what you're saying is we can do nothing to stop it. I'm like, yeah,
That-
basically. It's
that
so
question-
like,
that question actually wasn't asked at the hearing, so.
Well,
or
there-
at the meeting, so.
well, that there was a question.
From me anyway.
Not from you,
Yeah.
from another person. Yeah. No, I don't have any issues with what you had brought or anything. So.
Great, because I think there is concern amongst the public. And
Right.
If you're gonna make it here and make an impact, you're gonna have to be, instead of say you can't do anything about it, we're gonna come anyway. You need to have people win the public over.
Sure.
That you are a benefit.
Right.
because-
Well, and the one thing that we're trying to do is become more active in the community to show the impact that's happening. So a lot of what's happening is amazing stuff. It's just people don't really know about it. So we're trying to be more active in the community, like with the Riverboat Days. I thought that went really well. Jason being out and about more and having some of the guys working with him. And any other events, I think we'll be at Washburn Life tomorrow. So we want to connect in more and be more, approachable maybe or accessible so we can have more of the healthy conversations.
One bad incident sets you back a ways.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody does understand there is sex offenders here. There is that going on all around, even outside of, right?
And
You
we
guys
don't,
you guys understand that,
we
right?
don't support it.
Okay.
We don't
Making
accommodate
sure.
for it. We don't make exceptions for it.
We actually drug test every week and
We caught it as soon as we
Yep.
knew
A
about
couple
it.
times a week.
Absolutely.
That's everybody.
Anything else from the commission?
It's not a question, but just to clarify,
Sure.
just for the public, what he's saying about how we cannot do anything to stop it. What that is the American with Disabilities Act. Anyone with a substance use disorder is classified as having a disability. And then with the Fair Housing Act, you're not able, so it's federal statute, so you're not able to discriminate directly against those that would have this disorder, be the same thing as someone of a specific race or anything like that. So whether it be zoning ordinance, local building codes, whatever it may be, if they can prove discriminatory intent in court, you're cooked basically. So there's no state sort of regulations. There's only 2 cities that I was able to find that actually were able to somewhat do something, and it was only spaced the houses out by certain blocks away from each other, but they couldn't forbid them from coming in. So we did do our due diligence in looking for this. I did about 2 weeks of research, just kind of looking into all this stuff a year ago. But just so people understand what you're saying.
Thanks for clarifying that.
appreciate that.
So real quick, is there any questions from the audience? Okay. And unless that's it, thank you guys for coming.
Yeah,
I
thank you,
really
guys.
appreciate you explaining all this.
Yes.
I think it was a good, good
Yep.
Thank you. First reading ordinance 149A-1.
Mr. President, this is an existing ordinance. Do you want to just have first reading with changes or go forward? Either way.
I guess my only comment on that is the fines were changed. I don't know if that warrants full reading or not, but you know better than I do.
Those have to be published.
Oh, that's the only requirement?
Yeah, I think this is an effective ordinance in place, so just reading the changes would be fine, but the fines changed, so those do have to be published for 2 weeks in the paper.
The fines do, yeah.
Yes.
I think we need to at least read the changes.
Yes.
I can do that if you want.
Yes.
Sure.
Why don't you do that?
Okay.
So,
So basically if this is a dog ordinance, that probably needs a lot more than 149A. So with the dog ordinance, section 4, license was just corrected to the appropriate spelling with a E instead of an I. Minor change there. Under section 11, the whole title was changed with dangerous, vicious dogs at large prohibited. The at large prohibited was crossed out. Reason being was you want to have jurisdiction with any dangerous or vicious dog, not just those that would be roaming the streets wildly. There was incidents that you guys might have heard about in the previous commission meetings that were talked about, and that's why they were addressed in this way. So it now addresses dangerous and vicious dogs that would be just within city limits. So with that change from section B, the while such dog is at large, if a dog bite attempts or bites any person, the while such a dog is at large was removed. And so that'll be at any time, except it gives you leeway, obviously, for self-defense situations in the home, because if a burglar breaks in, you wouldn't want to get charged if the dog bites, and that would not make any sense. So then basically what happens with a dog bite, whether it's at large or in the home, not in a self-defense situation, it'll be recorded under that dog's licensure at the city auditor's office. So obviously having the dog licensed and that sort of stuff. And then that would increase penalty for dangerous and vicious dogs. So any of those previous bites or any sort of overly aggressive behavior or whatever it may be, they are laid out in section 11. The penalty, instead of being the same as a dog pooping, which was $25, the first violation is $500. And the reason for that is obviously the difference in the charges. If a dog is going to bite someone, maul someone, plastic surgery is a little bit more expensive than a plastic bag to clean up the poop off the floor. I'm trying to explain this logically, just so I don't randomly read off an ordinance and no one really knows what I'm talking about, but just the thinking that went into this, so we weren't just like making changes just to make changes.
What were you saying about the pooping?
Well, so that actually is changed just a little bit as well.
That'll be later on.
Yeah, that'll be later on as well. But basically, what I was saying was it's a more serious crime for a dog to maul someone or bite someone as opposed to defecate in their yard. You know what I mean? Like there's just a little bit of a difference there.
Okay.
Well, our ordinance didn't think so, and that's why we changed it. Yeah.
So, excuse me, would this be just someone or else another animal too?
So it'd be anything under section 11. So section 11 states if any dog bites or attempts to bite any person at any time except for a self-defense situation at home, then that dog should be conclusively presumed to be a dangerous dog and have dangerous tendencies, and also includes A, which is previous in the ordinance and has not been changed. So no dog of dangerous, vicious, or fierce tendencies may be at large at any time within the city limits. That prevents them from being within the city limits. And then C talks about if it attacks or attempts to attack any other dog or any other animal while such dog is at large. So that's specifically at large.
Perfect. Yeah.
You know, because
Okay.
trying to prove a self-defense.
I have a question about that one then.
Sure.
Say, I've had this happen with my dogs in the past. Say, some kids come into the neighborhood and poke my dogs with sticks and stuff. How would that come under it?
I guess that would be up to, like, if it went to court, that's where it would be decided.
But,
You mean if your dog bites them?
yeah. Because I've had it already where I've had kids come into my yard and take sticks and agitate my dogs back in their cages. And if the dog gets angry and bites one of them, where does that fall under?
Well, the dog is trying to defend itself.
Right, I know, but
Right,
So,
that'd be up to the judge and
Yeah,
jury.
you can't write every
given that-
stipulation in here. We
That
had a situation here that wasn't very good here, a month or two ago. We're trying to address it, so.
Right.
well, I'm just mentioning it because there's
But if
nothing
your
here
dog,
about
if your
it.
dog is in the cage, how's he gonna bite the kid?
Well, you know,
no, whatever.
Yeah,
Okay.
so.
Right, it would be just up to the judge and jury.
All right,
to decide on
I'm
that.
sorry. Okay.
No problem. So the first violation is $500. Second violation, the animal will be removed and humanely euthanized. So that will be obviously taking care of a dangerous situation in town. Then I added section 14, which is called preservation of human life. And the members of the police department or any other person in the city are authorized to kill any animals of any kind when it's necessary for the protection of any person. And this is just to have the law backing anyone that would want to preserve human life, whether it be with a weapon or whatever it may be. You know, like if they were to kill a dog, then in here they'd have to obviously prove it. But,
Right. Yeah.
but the big thing is to preserve human life. And okay, so now here's the pooping part. Section 18, defacing of property. So basically I left it just how it was, which I'll read it just so people know. It should be unlawful for a dog or cat to damage, soil, defile, or defecate on private property other than the owners of public properties, walks, or recreation areas, unless such waste is immediately removed and properly disposed of by the owner or keeper. Okay.
okay, I have a question about that.
Can you finish reading first?
Yeah, I'll just finish this one little part then for sure. Prosecution for such an offense may only be brought upon complaint signed by the person who observed the violation. That's the added part, but go ahead.
Okay, the boulevard. Say you have some people walking their dog and he poops in your boulevard on your property. Is that considered your property or the city's property? The boulevard part of the grass.
Well, the thing is, it says owners or public property,
Mhm.
so I'm not sure what your question is.
Okay,
I mean, it covers both. The fine would be the same, which would be
Yeah.
$25.
okay, because I had some walkers come by here a month ago and they pooped in the boulevard part of my grass and I had to go out and pick it up.
Right, so that's why we put this next part. The prosecution for such offense may only be brought upon complaint signed by the
Okay,
person
okay,
who observed the violation. So basically you just do a
that's fine.
signed complaint with the sheriff's office or whatever it may be. And the reason why we have people specifically signing complaints for this is because we don't have like retaliatory like dog poop wars or whatever, you know, like, hey, he pooped in my yard, or you don't like your neighbors and you're going to tell him, you know, you got to put your name behind that complaint. It's just the kind of thought there. And I'm not trying to be crass, but it's such a minor offense that it can be used as a little weapon for neighbors that don't like each other. So at least get on record for who's reporting such a thing. And then section 27, severability, which is in any section, clause, or phrase of this ordinance is for any reason held to be invalid or unconstitutional by a decision of any court of competent jurisdiction, such decision shall not affect the validity of the remaining portions of this ordinance. So basically, what that means is if it was like a small part of the ordinance was like well, this is not legal or whatever it may be due to some state statute or something that would overrule it, then it maintains the, I want to say, permeability or effectiveness of the rest of the ordinance. So it doesn't just throw it all out, but rather it keeps it. The reason why it's called severability because it severs off that part and then keeps the rest. So that was just added just to make it more complete because it's such a big ordinance now.
Vicky, that part about municipal court.
Oh, yep. And that's another thing that made it through the final revision because I keep forgetting about that sort of stuff.
What in green? It's in green there. Second to the last page. Maybe you gave it back to me. Here.
Nope, there we go. So this is something that needs to be. Yeah,
Oh,
this
yeah.
switch was district court.
Right.
It's my mistake.
Okay.
Just copied over from the old ordinance.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Okay. Any questions or anything?
I will move that we accept the first reading.
I will move.
I already did.
Oh, you did?
I
Oh,
said I
seconded.
moved.
Oh, okay. I thought you said would anyone.
No, it's
Okay, all right. Thank you for
somebody
coming.
seconded it, I'm not sure, so. Somebody seconded, who seconded? Me? Don,
I did,
okay.
yep.
Or whatever. Luke did. Discussion? Tim?
Yes.
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 I like the part in there about the pooping though.
I know you do. Policy for commissioners is next.
I'll just start from the beginning and we'll just read the whole thing, yeah? No.
I have a question on third page.
Yes,
It says commission meeting policy. It says all speakers must be placed on the agenda by 4:30 Thursday. I was wondering if it shouldn't be all items should be submitted to be placed on the agenda by 4:30 Thursday. Because you might not necessarily be a speaker.
True.
It could be just an item. And then my other addition to that is, items need to be on the agenda to be voted on. That's not in here anymore.
Okay.
That's what we had decided, remember?
Yep.
So,
Yes. Where, do you have a specific spot where you want that?
oh,
You do. Okay.
so I scratched that one part out, but I mean, does that make sense to you or?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, did everybody have a chance to read this?
Yeah. I think I'll let you finish that.
I'm done.
Okay.
That's my thing.
The question I had on the first page, and I visited with Keith, where it says, commission president assigns commission portfolios, and I know you always asked for a vote on it, so that it would have approval also from the commission. Is that right, or was I thinking wrong there? I know in other boards, the president just has the latitude to go ahead and make the
Well,
appointments.
that's why it's on June 13, 2022, that's what we agreed, that's what was voted on at our meeting,
Okay,
So
so we're just going for, yeah.
But the thing is, the president should talk with everybody beforehand. You just
Yep.
don't come to a meeting and go, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, you're going to do this.
Yep.
You need to talk to them.
Okay.
But then, and that's just portfolios, and then we kind of decide on the other ones. As they
Yeah.
come up.
And this is guidelines, it's not ordinances. If there's things in here, just like we did last
Right.
meeting, that we went back to one portfolio, if things need to be changed, it can be updated at
Exactly.
any time,
Yeah.
Am I right in my thinking there, Keith?
Yeah, and no, you're absolutely right. There's nothing binding here where you could be like, well, this says this here.
Right.
This is just a collection of data from other sources.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to have anything like to have some sort of rules or clarification and actually have it binding, you have to find the original sources and use those, operate from that.
So we can kind of use this as an onboarding process that as the guy builds his portfolio, we can just keep adding to it. Factual or whatever, but it's a guideline to,
It's a guideline, but, I'd say everything in here has been discussed at one point or another, and it's pretty much been agreed on. This is how, that the commission has decided that we should be running our meetings, correct? I mean, that's,
Right, yep.
so,
And it's just meant to be helpful. So
Yeah,
it's just
yeah,
meant to be
exactly.
helpful for those that will be coming on or whatever. I mean, there's just different century codes,
Yeah.
things about home rule charter, different portfolios, brief descriptions, and digital just easy links to find stuff. So merely meant to just be helpful for those that are elected into this office.
Oh, absolutely,
Give them
yeah.
a boost or a jump start, you could say.
Yeah, I think it's a really good deal.
With you building this, how would you like, if somebody wants to add to it, do they bring it to you or they bring it to the committee or how, I mean, to keep it actual factual? How, you know, say if you want to use it in your portfolio, it's in there, and then you want to start adding, say, under building the ground, something about the memorial building, more in detail. What does that look like, or how, I mean, can we just do it, or?
Yeah, you would just bring it to, I mean, you could talk to me if you want, or just bring it to the commission meeting, which would probably be the more normal, like, way or whatever, just because, I mean, I won't always be here, you know, so.
I think you just had generalizations, these ones in blue. I mean,
Yeah, they're generalizations.
they're just generalizations. It's just kind of, I mean, it's just a very small part of what each portfolio would actually be.
Right, but like, if you wanted to add some specific things that they
Right.
did with buildings and grounds, that would be helpful, because I've never been on buildings and grounds, so I don't know, like, who'd you talk to, who'd you call, what's this, you know, like, that sort of thing. So it would be helpful, for sure, if there was just things to add, which then we discussed at a later meeting.
So we're looking to adopt it as guidelines.
Yes.
Okay. With the change that, could you read that change, Keith, in front of you that Larry had?
Sure, it's Chelsea after. So under the commission meeting policy heading, which is underneath the home rule charter and conflicts of interest, I don't know which page exactly, but
It's third page.
thank you. So instead of all speakers must be placed, it said all items should be submitted to instead. And then also under that same heading, below 3, would it be 4 then? Items
It
need
would,
to
yeah,
be,
it would be,
items
yeah.
need to be on the agenda to be voted on. We'll do that.
Under 3?
It'd be 4. So it'd be under 3, but it'd be 4, because it's just the next number, so.
Well, I would move to accept these guidelines. Because that's, you know, what they are.
Those guidelines.
Yep, just guidelines. For present and future commissions.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, discussion?
I guess my only discussion would be if anyone wants to see them, just ask for them.
Yep.
Whoever should be
Oh, yeah.
available for you, so.
Public.
Public, I just wanted to clarify, just so, I guess, everyone has read it or whatever, so.
And if we do want to make an add to it, it should probably become, and what, voted on, or if we have something to add to it, it should probably be brought back to a meeting.
Yeah.
You don't
More than
just
likely, yeah.
Yeah.
keep adding on by yourself, you.
Well, yeah, it should, you know, just, so everybody knows what's going on.
Yeah, I think being how this was an official board action, it would need to be amended by official board action.
Right.
Right.
You know, or even deleted or added to. So,
Right, yeah, exactly. So, okay, Tim? You're voting?
yes.
Yes.
I thought you were asking for my portfolio.
Yes. All right. Adam, you want to do the quality asphalt under yours? Or,
Well, it's gotta be voted on.
yeah, all right, street patching. Care to explain that?
So I reached out to a few companies for patching asphalt streets. We got one quote back, same people that did it last year. I believe the price went up 25 cents per square foot. Is it 8 now? It's $8 per square foot, is $7.75 last year. We have marked about twice as much as we did last year, so it's quite a bit. And the total price was,
$67,864, that's the estimate. It would be final price, you know, basically, for actual square footage.
it probably would go up because that's based on 4 inches. Some of these are gonna be in spots where it's a bit thicker on the, trucking road, so.
Did you make a list of all the streets that need patching?
Yep. Send it to them and everything, so, yeah.
And we can get you that list. So,
Pardon?
we can get you that list.
Oh, I'm just asking.
So we need a motion to, any idea when they could get to this?
When I talked to him 2 weeks ago, he said, August is when he was looking at it.
I make a motion to approve it.
I will second it.
Further discussion? Tim?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Eric?
Hello.
Hello,
Hey, Eric.
I got a handout for you guys, some notes there, on what we got going on here. I'll just go down the list here. The lagoon project, the dredging contractor, had initially told me that it'd be Thursday, Friday this week that he'd be out here. Now it sounds like it might be Friday when he gets here.
Okay.
So I can't imagine he's gonna get too much done on Friday since he's driving up from South Dakota, so he'll be working this weekend. But he should be able to do everything himself, if we don't have anybody around, as far as city personnel. I don't have any issue with that.
We have somebody on call right now. Excuse me.
Yeah,
Yep, okay. Yep.
So, but he'll be here on Friday is what he had last told me.
I gotta go visit her.
Yep. So, we'll look for that, and like I said, Adam's gonna have that lagoon fill up a little bit more than normal, so that, that'll make it a little bit easier for him to do the dredging process, so.
Okay.
You already did that? Started filling it up higher?
Sorry.
Tomorrow morning.
Okay, moving on to the PRV project. Just working on getting an agreement together so we can get that work done for you guys. I don't have it for this meeting, but I'll be bringing that for the next meeting. Nothing else really to report on that yet. The boat ramp road slide area. So asked for clarification from Brown Intertech on their proposal that they had. That the issue that we had brought up was, what is the city getting out of that $5,000 site recon, as they called it. So what they're getting is a more accurate estimate, essentially, and all the work that they are going to do on that recon, they would do for that project anyways. What they told me is that $5,000 was included in their cost estimate. Well, their cost estimate was 50 to 70K. So it really wasn't, all we can deduce from that is it's less than what Terracon quoted. So I don't know if that really helps you guys that much, but that's what I got back from that. Another add-on, and more information is that there's a new, another program. It's called the Special Road Fund Program. It's a grant fund from the DOT, and this is something that we would use to apply for work done on River Road if there was something that we would go ahead and fix. And it's a 60% grant funding up to $300,000. This is something we would apply for in 2024 for 2025 construction. So
That would be for fixing that area?
that would be for fixing that area. Yeah, it wouldn't be paying for like a geotech report
Right.
or what we're talking about. But just a little blurb I have here on the Special Road Fund Program. It's on the DOT website as well. But it's limited to roads that provide access to or within recreational, tourist, or historical areas, which River Road would apply. That would apply to that. The intent of the program is to help finance highway projects identified by political subdivisions, such as the city of Washburn, which typically have some funding but need additional help. The maximum DOT contribution will limit it to 60% of the total project cost, or $300,000, whichever is less.
Okay.
So the 300,000 would be the 60%?
That'd be the cap, yeah.
That's how much you could possibly go.
Yep. So 60% match of the project cost up to $300,000.
Okay.
So that's what we'll look at doing this fall, applying for that. And I guess my question to the commission is the geotech report something that the city wants to pursue? And if so, would you like me to talk to Terracon or Braun Intertech about that? Or is that something you want to think about for a while and get back to me on?
Let me,
I'd rather mow it.
I'd rather mull it for a
Okay.
little bit. Yeah, I think it's been brought up. Maybe we could call NDSU, and maybe they have engineering students that would, and see what they do. Maybe they have a program that they could look into that possibly. So.
And I know the road is, and Larry and I went and looked at it here earlier today, so you can see that it's dropping some more too.
Yeah,
So,
it's dropping.
and of course we've had a lot of rain here this spring, early summer, so that definitely could be contributing to that as well.
Where does the Corps of Engineers start and begin? I mean, if it's along the river, is that anything of theirs to help with, or they, because the Corps, they have X amount of land along the river, right? Or is that-
Right, and then they're pretty slow at making much action to anything,
Okay.
and they're certainly slow or very cautious on putting anything in the river that's not there already.
Okay.
That's not saying that they wouldn't do something like that. So our communications to the Corps has been for funding opportunities, if there's some grant funding or something that the city could get to fix this, but I could most certainly reach out to them again and talk to them about it. That's something that they would be willing to take on. You know, I know that it would be easier to be able to get attention on it if there was a study that was done to show, hey, this is what's going on here. And we know, everyone that's in town has seen what's transpired over the years with how it's dropping and how the road is. I mean, it doesn't take much to go see the crack in falling on the river side of the road, you know, the downhill side. But yeah, that's most certainly, I can reach out to those guys again and talk to them about it.
Yeah, I
Explain
didn't
the
know if
situation
it'd be
again.
a resource or not to.
Yeah,
Maybe.
you would like to think so, but it's not always that easy. But I can ask them.
Someday it's just gonna slide right into the river.
Yeah, if you would do that, Eric, that'd be great.
Absolutely. Okay. Any other questions on that slide area? Okay. The next one on there, I moved it from 2024 to 2025. It's the street and drainage improvements. I know last time I talked to the commission, there's definitely interest and the desire to go ahead and do a street improvements project and get those the drainage improvements done. So it's a 2025 project. There's a couple areas in town that we're going to be targeting in addition to the area north of the highway. The area north of the highway is where the drainage improvements would happen. But looking at Rough Rider Drive and Custer Drive are the main roads there. First Street is the street that leads by the baseball field to the water plant. That's been in very rough shape for a long time. That's another small section that we're looking at doing. And then the road that's by Super Pumper is got really bad alligator cracking as well. I don't remember.
Between that and Treswick.
Yeah, it's
Mercy.
not sure which one it is now that I've said it. Meadow Drive, Meadowbrook Drive, Cannon Lane, which I'm not sure which one it is off of Border.
Should be Meadowbrook.
Oh, it's Meadow.
Is it Meadowbrook?
Yeah,
The one that comes off of Border Lane?
Yes.
Okay.
because it's that side one,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
going
Meadow-
to Highway
Meadow.
83,
Meadow,
correct?
yeah, Meadow Drive.
Meadow Drive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Because there's a Meadow Drive and there's a Meadowbrook Drive.
Right, yeah, it's Meadow.
It's the one over.
Okay, so, yeah, so you guys, it's a short section of street, but it's cracked up really bad, and if we're gonna do a couple different spots in town, that would be one of them to target, so.
Hey, Adam, that stuff over in front of our place, is that considered part of that as well?
Probably not at this time, but could be added.
That's something that's that big dip, you know, by his place. That's
There's a
something
section
that
item
should
that
actually-
goes to Cannon and
that's
Hurley Apartments, that little corner.
It's really bad there, it's getting worse.
Yeah. That's right.
Here's Cannon.
It's like right here.
Okay, is that where they dug up that
Yeah.
water main break
Yeah.
that one time? Okay,
Yeah, it's really low.
okay,
We can look at that after the meeting, maybe.
okay.
That might have to be added on.
So what my goal is between now and next meeting is to get an updated map and figure to you guys, so you can look at it all on one sheet, and you'll have a cost estimate to look at too. You know, that'll be something that'll be doing next. So
Eric and I did talk a little bit about these drainage things. You know, we kind of took a few of the inlets out of there and, you know, trying to make it just a little bit more cost effective. And, but stuff that really needs to be done, so, yeah.
yeah, and to add a little bit more to that, Custer Drive the north part of Custer Drive, we're looking at milling and overlaying to save some cost there because it's not as bad on the
This will come around that
uphill
way,
side.
so.
Right.
But on the south end of Custer Drive, it's in really rough shape, along with Heritage Drive as it comes out here.
Yep.
So the south end of Custer Drive and then Heritage Drive is in really bad shape.
Yep.
So that would probably be a reconstruction. And then this north end, we're looking at trying to save and do milling and overlaying. But you guys can check that out too and let me know what your thoughts are. The other thing is, that Larry and I discussed reaching out to some of the asphalt contractors to see what their opinion might be on milling and overlaying. I think Darren would be a good resource, and I could ask Mac too. I have a feeling I know what he would say, but they have good expertise because they've paved a lot of streets, so they're gonna. And they've milled and overlaid a lot of streets as well, so they would have some good feedback on those.
And also, we could have a couple bores taken too, just to see what's under there.
Well, we have bores at Custer already, so we have data on that. Custer Drive, these streets up here on the north side of the highway are very similar to what we just replaced, where they have a very thick asphalt section that's underlain by little to no gravel base. So that's what we know right now. But yeah, well, more to follow on that project.
Are truck routes thicker than regular routes?
Truck routes are thicker than regular routes, yes.
A couple inches or whatever?
So what we've done historically in Washburn is we've done a 12-inch section of gravel base that has a 6-inch layer of asphalt over the top of it for a truck route.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is that a lot more expensive than regular?
I mean, it's gonna be a little bit more expensive, yeah. Versus what a typical residential street that we've done in town has been 8 inches of gravel with a 4.5-inch section of gravel. So you have another 1.5 inches of asphalt and another 4 inches of base. That's what we've done. That's worked well in Washburn. So
I was just wondering how by Chris's for getting out there in that little patch, would that be worth, and getting excavators and stuff out with that little area?
You're talking right here?
Yeah, right, yeah.
This is Super Pumper.
If just that section out to the highway would be, truck route grade.
That's something that we could definitely look at. I can get you guys estimates on what a section of truck route would be versus what the section of a regular residential street.
Yeah, because he runs his trucks past the beauty salon when he goes out to the highway. And that's
Okay.
all getting chopped up there. That's part of that bag road over there.
I mean, it's not the same, like, there's a gas station there, so we'll throw the ambulance there sometimes, that's a big truck too, so.
Just because of the heavy traffic and then what he's doing or whatever, but.
I mean, you could tell by looking, when you drive right down here, looking down Meadow from this point this direction and looking down Cannon from this direction, you can tell how much worse this alligator cracking is and how that much rougher this section is right here, right by Super Pumper.
Yeah.
So,
Because they bring tankers in too to fill, so.
right, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so-
sure, they come in and whip around, yeah, exactly.
So that's the updates there, but like I said, I will get you guys a more put together map that you can look at all the areas and then cost estimate as well for it.
Sure.
Again, the funding that we looked at is the McLean County Water Board to help cost share on the drainage improvements for the stuff that's on the north side of the highway. And then we're looking at the Hazard Mitigation Loan Fund. It's a 1% interest loan from the Department of Emergency Services. And then there's the B&D Infrastructure Revolving Loan Fund. It's a 2% loan. Those are the options that we had on there that we talked about last time. Any questions on that project? Okay. Good news for sure for me on my workload is that the lead and copper rule, the state has pushed all those deadlines back a little bit, which surprise, surprise, but there's been with the method they have of gathering the data, it's a portal, online portal. So that's been pushing all the deadlines back because of their trouble with launching that portal. So right now, I guess how it affects Washburn is we had a June 1st deadline for submitting the inventory list that we had completed for Washburn, and that's been pushed to August 1st. So that will be uploaded at that point, at or before August 1st. And then the other thing I wanted to let you guys know is that I'll have a closeout meeting for what we've got accomplished for the city and kind of give you guys a heads up of where you're at. I know Adam has a pretty darn good idea where they're at with the lead service lines, but this meeting will just work to get you up to speed on everything. And we can schedule a special meeting for that if the commission wants to have it, or I can meet with Adam and the portfolio holders for that too, whichever way. But that'll be something that I reach out to you guys and set up later on. So. Other thing is the 2023 street improvements project. So the seeding has been done. I went out and checked the seeding and did some measurements. We are going to be a little bit over on the seeding portion of the project because there was a lot more curb that we replaced. That's the main reason why. Plus the end of Linden Lane, we go down the hill really steep there. There was a lot of extra seeding work that we did there. Some of that is coming in really well. I can tell who waters their grass and who doesn't. That it's very clear. The yards that have been watered, the seeding looks really good. But some of it has not been watered, and you can tell it's more bare. It's got more weeds and stuff. But so I did go check that. So what you can expect at the next meeting is the balancing changes. That's what we do at the end of every project. There's some quantities that are higher, some that are low. So we'll balance that out. So we have the authorization from the city to increase the contract price or decrease it, whatever we have to do. And then there'll be a final pay application. So the main cost of the last pay application is going to be the retainage that we've withheld from the contractor. So that'll be the main.
Do you do a final report on the contractor that did the work then? Yay or nay if he did a good job or not? Or is that up to the president of the commission here to put a good word in on it?
Well, I think you guys, anyone that drives the project can tell if it's done well or not. I can say that the contractor, they worked really hard. Their methods maybe weren't always the best to get it done with great efficiency, like quick, get it done fast. But their product looked pretty well. I would say that and I know Larry would agree with me, the curb and gutter, it takes a little more artistic work than what most would think. But I know that their curb they were trying to match didn't match the best. But things look pretty good so far, I would say. But if you guys want to, we're in the warranty period right now, so that ends this fall, right? So throughout this summer, I would encourage you all to take a look at the project. If there's anything that has to get fixed, we want to get that done.
And we'll do an inspection on it. But the complaint I have is the drainage speed bump.
Right. Yeah.
People are not happy with that one.
They certainly went a little bit much on that valley gutter that crosses there. It doesn't cross Linden. It's parallel with Linden. I think Kelly Drive, Kelly and Linden. Yeah, it's got a good trough to it, so water's not going to spill out of there for sure. But again, that was part of the little bit of artistic touch. I think it could have been a little bit better on the concrete work. But that's all my updates that I have for you guys. Unless you have any questions for me.
Yeah. Thanks, Eric. Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you.
President Larry,
Yes.
I have a question for Eric on the streets.
Okay.
Yeah. On the west end on Main from 3rd Street out to alternate 200,
okay.
You really seen how that's alligator cracking? What's the best way to fix that before it gets any worse, before we have to replace that?
So Main Street's a truck route, so that as much cracking as you've seen on Main Street, it's held together really well.
Yeah.
I'm fairly certain that we did not a mill and overlay, maybe it was a chip seal on both ends of Main Street not that long ago. It's been a couple of years ago now, I suppose. But it has held together. There's not any potholing that I know of.
I'm concerned with all the moisture that we're getting and all the, alligator cracking, we're gonna get moisture in underneath that road.
Well, and I know Adam and his crews have done a pretty good job at patching some of that stuff together, doing the oil or the tar. So that's done pretty decently. But yeah, I mean, that's something we could look at too.
But I just noticed it's gotten worse.
Yeah.
Over the last year or two.
Okay. Well, it's not the only spot, but I mean,
No.
but we need to move on. So we can talk about every road in town, we'll contact you. So,
I would say we'll focus on the ones that are in the worst shape.
Sure.
And then if that's something that they have resources for, the city wants to do.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so portfolios, Tim?
Yeah, the only thing is, like I said, last time forestry had that grant, they planted those trees, and just a public thank you to John and Carla Klein. He's been doing the watering of the bags and stuff down
Nice.
there, and I think you guys are gonna take over here, so. But yeah, John's been really good, so kudos to John for helping us out there, so.
Perfect.
Yep.
That it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, just a quick question. Asbury started this week down there.
Okay.
And just a question, I think if there's, bad weather, I think their go-to is the hall, I think,
Memorial Hall, yep.
for like a fallout shelter.
Yep.
How,
Basement Memorial Hall.
yeah. How does that work? Like if there's something like that, do the police open that up or
Police open it up to the
Yep.
public.
so that shouldn't be an issue. They would go down there and that's.
They're supposed to,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
So I was just curious about that, how that works.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could, go talk to them about it, but that's always been,
Okay, so it wouldn't be
The,
a city deal, it would be
yeah,
that
it would
they
be-
would have the keys and they would go open it.
yeah.
Okay.
For that hazard stuff and for the shelter in place, I believe Adam's name is listed on there, my name is listed on there, and then the police department and the fire department. And the police department and the fire department have actual physical keys for the hall.
Okay. So,
Okay.
okay, just
Yep,
curious.
yep.
question.
Well, that's
And
good
they,
to know.
Noelle does ask every year when she's updating that, for that policy to make sure that the names and the numbers are still the same to have in place, so.
Gotcha.
Asbury has used it before. I remember one time in their home basement, so.
Gotcha,
My kids were there, so. Yep.
That it?
Yeah, that's all I got.
Keith?
I mean, most of my stuff is during the meeting, so.
Okay. Okay, what I have is, we've got the millings down to the boat ramp road area. They are leveled out. We got the roller for compactor delivered today. So tomorrow, the plan is to get it rolled and taken care of and open it back up. So
Sounds great.
I know a few people were upset, but, it's one weekend, it was a beautiful weekend. I'm sorry, but that's, we're improving it, so.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all I have. Chelsea?
The library board will have a position open for a committee member. So if anybody is interested in being appointed to the library board, you can submit your letter of interest to the city.
So somebody already left, or are they plan on leaving?
They are leaving at the end of the month. Their terms, they've served their 2 consecutive terms, so
Okay,
they're expiring out.
okay, thank you.
Just a reminder, our 2022 and 2023, we are doing a combined audit that is underway. We did switch to summer hours come Memorial Day, so the city office hours are 7 to 4:30, Monday through Friday, 8 to noon on Friday. We had some issues with the water salesman. A couple people did reach out to me, but if anybody used the water salesman and were overcharged, I need some notification of what you were charged and like what credit card was used, so I can look on our back end so I can make sure that they get reimbursed. I know one for sure has called and given me his transactions. When the power went out up there, something reset, so the price wasn't done, so we had to have O'Day come down and reset the price.
Is it fixed now?
It is fixed now. Yep, it was the middle of May when that happened, so
Do we need a power backup in there?
there is one again. There was one and I think it had to be replaced, so it went out. I don't know if it got fried, but there is one in there.
Okay.
Eric, I was gonna ask, do you have information on the Red River Valley Water Supply Project in the memo that they wanted signed by the end of June? Because I haven't seen anything on that.
Okay, I have not seen anything new since
Okay.
that last meeting, but just, I'll look at my notes here to see real quick if there was, what they said for
The last email that Dwayne sent out, he asked questions to multiple different cities. So I don't know if they're waiting for that, and they said that they would be sending out the new one. I just know that they wanted it signed by the end of June, but I haven't seen anything.
Yeah, memorandum of commitment signed by the end of June 2024.
Okay.
That's all I have, but
Okay.
I
can reach out to Dwayne and ask him.
Yeah. And I haven't seen anything new on that
No,
after
I haven't got anything either.
these questions
mean,
were answered.
Yeah, because they're down to 20 days here if they want cities to sign that.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll send it out when they're ready, so.
Yeah, just
But I can ask.
if you had heard anything different.
I have not heard anything different.
Okay. And then I guess just a reminder that tomorrow is election day.
Okay. Got a report?
If there's any questions about what's listed on it?
Did everybody have a chance to read the superintendent report? Any questions? Okay. Do we have any questions for our employees? Anybody? No? Okay. Bills. Everybody have a chance to review the bills?
I move we pay the bills.
Second. Discussion on the bills? Tim?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, yes. Waiting for me? Wake up.
Okay.
And I will say yes. Next meeting, July 8th. Thank you everybody for coming. Meeting adjourned.